at the future of bamboo industry right now, we're thinking of also the environmental aspect. We've got a lot of degraded areas, and they've been mapped with KFS. Those are some of the areas we are looking at. The riverines, protecting our river banks. And we've got studies that are now setting up in terms of how does the bamboo interact with the water and the soil. Does it take up a lot of water, and how much water? Does it transpire it and it gets back into the land? Those are studies that we are getting into as KEFRI. But so far, in terms of protecting the riverbanks, they are doing pretty well. We have an example right here in Michuki Park, where the bamboos were planted 8 years ago. The river didn't eat into the land. But where there was no bamboo, the river just carved itself and you know. So that's why we've had a lot more bamboo growing, planting along Nairobi River within the Michuki Park. And this is just actually to show how can the bamboo help in terms of riverine protection. The other thing is that we are looking at a study of phytoremediation. What does that mean? Bamboo has the ability of lifting out heavy metals. We have a study that was set up along Ruai to see, because our rivers, after an expose that was done sometime, when was that study done? On the Nairobi River, from the beginning up to the coast. A lot of effluent has gone into the rivers, whether it's from domestic or factories, so it has high levels of heavy metals. Bamboo can also be grown to see how it can reduce and lift out some of those heavy metals from the rivers and the soils. So those are the environmental benefits of bamboo. It's evergreen, so the carbon sequestration is amazing. That is something that we have worked on, and it's comparable with trees per hectare, and that's where we are promoting bamboo. But we're not saying we are replacing tree growing, because we still have an industry for trees, industrial timber. So we still need our cypresses and our pines. But where we can grow bamboo as an alternative is where we are looking at. Our lives are dynamic. Look at what COVID has done us, the last 6 months. We have totally changed the way we do thinking and doing activities. We are having meetings online. So it's the same thing as evolving. We need to evolve with specific products. The bamboo is one of them. And we are not saying we're replacing trees, but where we can grow bamboo, it can be able to offer livelihoods for farmers. It can offer for supporting industries, for making the products that we are importing. We can be an exporter, even just from East Africa. The Ethiopians are way ahead of us. They started the bamboo agenda slightly earlier, and now they're even going to have a training center in Ethiopia. So not only will they just train the Ethiopians, but it will be in the region.
In terms of the future of bamboo is very bright. But we can't get there in a day. The government is working towards promoting bamboo. KEFRI is in the front line. A number of private initiatives are also going on. So the future of bamboo is bright. Given another 5 to 10 years, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of resources to enable us to process at industrial scale.
Bamboo has a very bright future in this country, especially because now environment has become very, very sensitive. We've seen during heavy rains, the flooding that takes place in some of our rivers and even streams. So if then most of those riverines, people planted bamboo, this would be able to stabilize those the riverines and also filter the water, so that eventually, the kind of water that you get is not water that is heavily polluted. So in terms of conservation, bamboo is very key. In terms of livelihoods, bamboo can engage quite a number of youth. I know in this country we have a real issue with youth employment. And bamboo is, unlike timber, is a poor man's resource. Because you don't need to establish huge plantations of bamboo. Just a clump within a compound or just in the neighborhood of your homestead is able to, you can, from that, you can do basketry, you can do mats, you can do, basic household items. And this one, you'll be able to sell and make money. At industrial level, generally we would encourage, people to process bamboo, primary processing at the source, at the plantation, before moving it to secondary processing. In that primary processing alone, you can engage a lot of youth, because based on the final product that you want to get from your materials, you can semi-process them at the site, and that way you would have engaged so many, youths, young guys to do that semi-processing. Of course, they can do it with basic machines, and if those are not available, just ordinary tools like the machetes that we have can also be able to do that. So that way you can, and of course, you move now to secondary processing at industrial level. There again, obviously you'll be able to engage quite a